Hey everybody, welcome back to Wicked Good Sports. I'm your host, Brian Marr, and we're joined as always for not at the buzzer. I almost said at the buzzer. Jesus Christ, every time I do this, Chris, I'm sorry. Um, this is Power Play, hosted by Chris Uminski. Chris, how you doing?
I am doing great, Brian. It is a great day to be a hockey fan, a great day to be a Bruins fan. It
Mm.
is everything is awesome right now in the world of hockey.
All right, so a big part of that is the Seattle Kraken had their expansion draft, and I guess what are the big storylines coming out of this for you?
So the big coming out of it, so the Kraken, what they had not a lot to choose from, I'll say. I would
Right.
probably rank their draft. I'd give them a solid B.
Mm.
Based on the choices that they had. Um, Jeremy Lauzon from the Bruins is now officially with the Kraken. I think may have predicted that a couple of weeks ago or last week or something like that. And yeah, he's going to be on there. Their defense is going to be very good.
Mm-hmm.
You got a lot of young players on that defense that are going to get developed. Offensively, leaves a little to be desired, but I will say that the best pick they had all night was they chose Yanni Gord from the Tampa Bay Lightning,
Mm-hmm.
who was such a big part of their cup run this year.
Yep.
He's having a little bit of shoulder surgery, going to miss the first month of the season, but when he comes in, he's going to make such an impact on that team.
Right. Were there any players that you were surprised that the Kraken didn't take that were available?
Oh, yes. A big storyline going into this was Montreal goalie Carey Price, arguably one of the top goalies in the league, waived his no-trade clause, his no-movement clause. And allegedly so that he could be made available to Seattle.
Mm-hmm.
Carey Price is from Vancouver, British Columbia, just across the border there.
Yeah, really close.
So
Yeah.
does he want to go back to the Pacific Northwest? What's going on here? The Kraken did not take him.
Oof.
They
That's kind of
did not-
crazy to me. He was in the Stanley Cup Finals just a week ago, and they didn't even make the move. So who'd they pick in his place?
They picked. I've got it up right here. So they picked Chris Driedger from the Florida Panthers,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Vitek Vanacek from the Washington Capitals, who's another, I think, a very underrated goalie. He was awesome in the series with the Bruins, and Joey Daccord from the Ottawa Senators.
Okay, so a good like three-headed monster there in your opinion?
Yeah, they got him. It's a pretty definitely Driedger and Vanacek are going to be a great tandem. Driedger is probably going to be their starter. Joey Daccord is going to be a good option to have on the bench. He went to prep school and played hockey in my hometown of Ashburnham, Massachusetts.
Oh, very cool. Local boy.
He attended Cushing Academy while I was delivering pizzas to that school. So I don't know, maybe a little connection there.
Yeah, maybe you're that close to greatness, that close to a Kraken.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah, though offense though, I will say that they probably had better options that they could have taken on some other teams. Like I said, Yanni Gord, he'll do good once he is available to play.
Right.
But the other big surprise was we talked a little bit about Vladimir Tarasenko last week.
Mm-hmm.
He was made available for the draft. He wants out of St. Louis. He also was not taken by the Kraken.
That is surprising, considering how we talked about it last week.
As of this moment, he's still in the Blues.
Mm-hmm.
My theory for why they passed on Price and why they passed on Tarasenko is they wanted to save the cap space.
Okay.
Those are two very expensive players.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the name recognition alone, I would have, if I was the GM in the Kraken, I probably would have signed at least one of them.
Yep.
Because it's so important when you're building a new franchise. You want to have players on your roster that are going to attract fans. Hey, we've heard of Carey Price. Let's
Right.
let him play in our town.
Yeah, we got to get some jersey sales going.
I mean, I guess I think they're going to market Yanni Gord that way. Even just based on the broadcast last night, the way they were talking about him.
Right. Well, speaking of the broadcast, so I've seen conflicting opinions. Some people really loved how it is, and some people were really hard on ESPN for how it was presented. What are your thoughts on the broadcast?
I fall somewhere in the middle, I think. As far as entertainment value, there were a lot of great moments last night. If you haven't had the opportunity to see Marshawn Lynch announcing one of the picks, absolutely butchered the guy's name. It was.
Hey, so these hockey player names are sometimes very tough to pronounce. I'll cut him some slack there.
There were a couple of points when it was a little bit gimmicky, but it was still fun to watch. I'm sure it was very fun for the people in Seattle and for the people who were in the crowd at the actual draft. I will say that they're making a good effort to provide quality coverage. ESPN hasn't covered hockey in
a long time,
recent memory.
Yeah.
I don't even know if they have in my lifetime, to be honest.
Yeah, the last time I can really think is when Barry Melrose was the face of hockey on ESPN. I don't know if you remember that. That was mid 2000s. Yeah.
But I mean, I think once they get a good group of analysts going, and once they're able to actually show some games too, and be able to talk about the players in the context of the game rather than just trying to spout off a bunch of stats and try to make it relate to what's going on in the moment, like they were trying to do last night.
Right.
And I have hope for ESPN. It'll be. I'm hoping it'll be better than the NBC broadcasts.
Right. Yeah, you didn't like that at all.
NBC. I don't know very many Bruins fans, at least, who like the NBC broadcasts.
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of locally a bit spoiled. I feel like Nesson does a really good job with their coverage of, Bruins and Red Sox. So I can see why people wouldn't really enjoy the NBC broadcast.
Yeah. Then Pierre Maguire is the second worst announcer in North American sports, I think.
Oh, man. Was there anything else you want to talk about the Kraken before we move on to any other subjects?
Well, I'm excited to see what they're going to do going forward. They've already started making trades. They traded traded one of their picks from last night for some draft picks next year. They're going to actually be able to make a draft pick tomorrow night when the NHL draft starts. But I'm excited. I'm excited for the Kraken, and I'm secretly low key rooting for them a little bit.
Yeah, you want to see the new team do well and excel. I mean, it like we talked about before. It was exciting to see the Golden Knights do so well in their first season. So, I also really like the Kraken's jersey and logo and all that.
That's a cool jersey. You won't hear me say this often, but I want that jersey.
Yeah, no, I feel you there. At least a hat or a T-shirt or something. It's cool. It's neat. There's not many times new teams come into league, so we gotta embrace it here. I did see a lot of jokes that the Seattle Kraken will be selecting the Oklahoma City Thunder in their draft. A little
another thing
joke.
I noticed about the last night. There were a lot of former Sonic players making those picks. They want the Sonics.
Yeah, so that's not to get too off. So Seattle still owns the rights to the Sonics. They just need to find someone to invest and make the team and pay for the spot. We'll see if that happens because, Sonics are a pretty important part of NBA history. It's kind of weird to not have them around for such a long time,
Yeah.
All right. So, any other NHL stories you want to touch on before we get on out of here?
Oh, for all of my Bruins fans out there, happy Taylor Hall Day. It's finally happened. Taylor Hall signed his deal. 4 years, $6 million. We can rest easy knowing that he's there, but now we can just stay up all night wondering what are they going to do about the defense.
Yeah. What's the move here? So that's very exciting. We talked about, after the Bruins lost their series, that signing Hall was probably top priority for them, and he had talked about wanting to stay in Boston, so it worked out quite well from there. And now, like you said, we'll see if the address defense in the rest of the offseason and, the draft, like you said, coming up. Exciting times. I kind of like how the hockey season, I doubt it's like this every year. It's probably just because of COVID, right? Where it's like ending and now there's a draft immediately. But it's kind of fun.
The last 2 years, we practically went from one season right into the next.
Mm.
And now it's ending like, it feels like the trade deadline right now.
Right.
So
much happening.
Season's over.
Oh, man. All right, Chris, where can they find you online?
So I'm always tweeting about hockey. Been tweeting a lot about the Kraken lately. Chris_Uminski. I'm also on Facebook too.
So go follow him there. You can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMar. This BMARR. The channel is on Twitter at WickedGoodSport or at WGEverything. Instagram WickedGoodEverything. Twitch twitch.tv/WickedGoodEverything. The main channel is youtube.com/WickedGoodEverything. This channel is Wicked Good Sports, and we have our podcast channel, Better Radio. Anything else I want to plug? No, just check us out. We covered a lot of subjects this week, because almost every day of the week had uploads. So if you're interested in Team USA soccer, if you're interested in the NBA Finals, if you're interested in a little bit of football talk, I got back to it because there's some stuff to talk about. And after today, there might be more stuff to talk about because, there's some new COVID stuff happening in the NFL. So we'll see if there's another video about that. But just stay right here if you're interested in sports because we got it all covered. Chris, thank you so much for stopping by and spending your time talking about the Kraken.
Thank you, Brian.